It looks like I'm set. So today is going to be a little bit. I had a funny idea. That's great because okay, I'm all set up now, and because the other days I basically kept in the motions, and it was fine. I actually quite liked this one. Today, however, we can make something a bit different. I have everything that I need. I pulled up the references, so it's just time to get to work. So the theme is Blunder. I want to make two chess pieces and give them expression so that we can mix and match a little. I think that will work great. Then we see from there. Where do we go? Now it looks like live. I'm live, but is my audio even working? Because I haven't heard my bot start getting in. Okay, no, works great. So the white piece. First off, the chessboard. The chessboard. Now I need it to be whatever. Now this is not. I have to block it out because what I need from the chessboard is to basically have the L shape here. So what's the horse like? 3. Okay. We should then be placing the horse over here and the queen over here. But the problem is that now I'm a little bit overshadowing them. I can, at the same time, move it even further. Like put the horse here, the queen here. We can give him the height. Yeah, this looks good. Now, maybe I'm gonna use a grid later on just to make the squares a little bit better, in which case I probably should sketch them on different layers so that I can go back and select the desired one. Plus, I can go even bigger because now it's an L sized. Literally the only thing that I care is about the 3 squares, you know. We can always go smaller. So the queen piece. The queen piece, actually, it's going to be relaxing to draw the... I think it would be relaxing to draw the pieces. They have some nice energy to them. So there's 1. There's 2. Maybe I can move it a little bit over here. Okay. And this one inserts basically it gets like a tower. Might be a little bit on the smaller side. So that's gonna look better. It is extremely crooked. I think I'm gonna give it another go just about now. It is extremely crooked. And the other problem that I have with my queen at the moment is also the fact that these are supposed to be more rounded shapes, but I think that I can infer that with the sketching part. Maybe. So there's this. There's that. Up in the crown. Now, theoretically, we could use a symmetry function, but I don't think I'm gonna do. Just gonna have fun with it. That's having it a little bit more crooked is great. I am gonna practice. Gonna practice some things like my precision a little bit. So yesterday I swung by traditional artist after my stream. He was very nice. Also, nice community. If I find them today again, I would gladly go back there. Okay, so this is the easier part now. Time to do some things over here. Well, it is very crooked. So tell you what. I'll try to work it out a little bit better. So we can disable the first one. Stop being distracted by this. Okay, looks more on center. I think that this base is a little bit better than before. Now, if we can center even the higher part of the base, this is gonna feel like a lot better. Yep. You know, at very least, it will feel easily correctable when I ink. I want it to be like 90% now. At first I hated to sketch, but now it's not even that so bad. I think I got a little bit of confidence. Now to solve this issue, the fact that my base actually gets higher, I think I can just simply entertain this idea that it gets a little bit higher, you know? So that the planes Same would go for that one. So yeah, this would be the planes, and same will go here. Like these planes do get higher, so they have a little deviation at some point. And there's a small separation over here, which I would infer with maybe some. Yeah, I can put the highlights on the left side so I can infer how this works. Like even something like this should work nicely, you know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the lower base is gonna be higher. Same goes for this. This should imply in the top part. I think it implies that the piece is not an oval, but it has this thicker layers outside. Fortunately for my Instagram, but unfortunately for my streams, I think that I'm improving the quality of the drawings, which would mean there's gonna be like better results. But these better results will come at the cost that it will take me much longer to finish. Which is a reasonable thing. But I'm kinda disliking the fact that I'm behind the advent. Oh my god, I'm so obsessed with the advent, man. I keep on forgetting that now I'm doing the drawing one. Oh yeah, the part of me is really screaming about this whole business of being, being in time. Although the creator specifically said that it's not about being in time, it's about just getting some drawing done. And yes, I understand. I know that that's the correct approach. It just doesn't feel. There are some things that even if you know that are correct, it still does not feel right. So that's the way that I'm feeling at the moment. Yes, sure, I know that it is way more beneficial if I can. Well, I always use beneficial, but the point of the challenge is more about drawing than the result or how long it took to make it a little smaller. Everything is also kinda crooked, so results may vary. Okay, so the first time I misunderstood how this works. Okay, now it's a little bit better. I can work this out because we're gonna have to make some annotations for this. And just, that this describes better if I cut it in two. Because there's it does give it a little bit more character. I'm gonna work on it and then see where it brings me. No, I think it is unfortunate in the sense that my brain will always target me and will ask from me to get going with the drawings. But that's fine. Also, I know that the next project, well, the next input is ornate, which means fancy, which means details, which means crying. So that I'm not super excited about. Now, I used to not like the detail part, but I grew some appreciation. It does still, even if allows for amazing, even if it does make the results feel very cool. Problem is, it's a major time sinker. So that's definitely to be taken in consideration. Maybe not now, since I don't have really any schedules at the moment. But for my comic book health, I will have to try to get things done in a reasonable time. Not in an internet time, because that's not indicative of anything closer to health. Like, for me to have weekly output as somebody who's creating as an indie creator, that's just not it. I don't think I will. I don't need to do it. It might, even if it is going to make it grow, I would need to drop gym, need to drop every sport that I have. And from others people experience, I know that this is not the way to go. In reality, I'm even not that much of an workaholic. Working my discipline at this moment, but it sucks because the only thing that's keeping me going is the idea of the comic book and the nature of the challenge, which requires a little bit of consistency. But to be frank with you guys, I'm not really any kind of workaholic sorts. If given the chance, I probably would be a bum. Like, if I had the money and no needs to work, I would 100% do dick every day. Probably be like even more of a video game addict. Now, as an adult, I had to quit or greatly reduce my hours because I need to work and I have some projects to do. But a lot of my did I oh yeah. But you know, okay, this looks great. Now, can we put a face on it? So I don't think I would have stumbled upon the passion of drawing as if it were to be about, it wasn't about the, if it wasn't about the, like about the job, about money, and little by little work out my ethic to finally finally be able to get it done. Yeah, face works great. Yep. There's just piece one. Now time to work on the second one. Because it took a bit of it took a little time before I could get in the mood to study or to do anything that's difficult. Studying, I think, has to be an exception because there's external, there is some external motivations that go into it. You're still paying taxes. There's a lot of people want you to get educated. It's not the same as in something that you have to do on your own and nobody will judge you or will keep you accountable. And that requires some kind of internal validation, internal motivation. Knight, chess, black. Which I wasn't really having. I did eventually work it out, but it was tough. It wasn't at all. Mm, it, it was, I think, part of the larger reaction, little by little. I've always wanted to get going, and when the opportunity finally, opportunity is incorrect. I don't have any opportunities in the field, but you know when you always find trying to find something that will get you going. That's I think what the Inktober did. It allowed me to it taught me to be a little bit vulnerable and just go with it. It's paying off in the sense that I am here and going. Now everything else will come just with time. Stuff does require a long ass time always. So there's no point into being so upset about it. I say it, I know, but it would be very desirable to just jump some stages. Just being better. At least that was my mentality beforehand. At this moment, I am enjoying little by little more this hunt. Finally was able to enjoy the process. Okay, this shit is crooked as fuck, but let's lay down the foundation, then I'm gonna resketch it on top of it. Like for the queen, it worked very well to have the crooked reference underneath. I would have never thought actually that you hear a lot of the journey is the destination or the friends along the way and all that shit. And I think it doesn't really register because at the end of the day, when you're not doing it, sounds stupid. But when you get into it, all of that already heard stuff hits in a different way. Because now you're part of those that understood what it is about, really. And don't mind you, there are people that can get for the objective and that's about it. But I believe that they would be the minority. Like the Mr. Beast kind of hustlers, even he was obsessed mostly about making amazing videos. Now he might be more about money and fame. Well, I guess technically he always was. I think that there was more artistic purpose beforehand. It is very different when you try to succeed. Different levels of how you're trying to succeed, I think. It's probably a lot more interesting when the not famous Mr. Beast tried to do it rather than the famous one now. Because like now it'd be, oh no, the very famous guy did the very famous thing. Whereas before it was the, oh, this is a normal dude that's just spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to not make any. Or some bizarrety at the point. But that's what would make you go, or I don't know how it's called, squeezy, whatever. The guy who stuck to Rainbow Six Siege and again made it work. It's also something that's kind of cool. So just stick to your arms and make it work. right now with my comic book, at very least the writing portion happened for like better part of 3 years, I think. No, it's actually 6. So I've been writing for 6 and now technically drawing also for 6. But that was the part that I fell a lot off the wagon and just catching up now. I will 100% of the time, 100% of the chance that I will start drawing way before I'm ready for the actual comic book to look or feel in any distinct way. But that's basically by design. I'm substantially building up my resistance for trying new out and for failure just for that moment. It will come and it's going to be difficult and I will have to adapt and actually do it. But that is to be expected. This resilience will serve me well, I think, in even different. Just not only in drawing, but both in drawing and everything else. Like even when I'm gonna inevitably get some bad reviews or even smaller than bad reviews, just like negativity, it will sting as my project will grow. But I have to get peace of mind also with that. That's part of my of the strength of just working it out. Okay, so the horse's nose. Okay, I'm gonna need to make more space for the nose. Nostril 1, nostril 2, and I have to make it smile. That's going to be also interesting to be done. At this point in time, I don't have a name. I have a plot summary for the whole thing, and there is basically like around 80 or 90% done of the first season. I always pictured that the seasons would be like I would say I always picture them as with big breaks in mind, because I wish that the person that wrote the season 2 is the one that gets to season 2. If I were to write them at this moment, I still make like a lot of changes about that time. So there's no point into working this big novella and then scraping it, or even the fact that maybe I work on it for like a couple of years and I'm not liking the idea of keep making comic books. So it ends up being never finished. That would be tragic, but even more tragic if everything is already on point and you just don't do it. Maybe even moving on. Like, what if the story is not going into direction or it's not working in the way that you like? Or simply doesn't quite resonate? Mostly with me, because the audience, having audience is important, sure. But for the biggest part, the one that will read it for the most part is going to be me and hopefully other people at some point in the future. So I should always keep myself. Oh, I forgot one. I should always keep myself in mind when making during the making of. Because it always will be like that. Simply put. At the end of the day, it was birthed by my hubris of being capable of doing something like that. That's just, I think, like most people, like someone wants to tell stories, but I don't see an artist going about it in the way like, yeah, I'm gonna make a worse story or the same story that I've heard. You would always want something fresh and something that's better. Like there's some medium or some kind of stories that you would want to put a fresh spin on it or to make it better or anything that really ticks with whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And I'm not different in this regard. Like my intention is not to write mangas because I like mangas, but I feel I have something more to contribute. Sure, it's going to be a comic book inspired by manga, inspired by even other comics movies. But wouldn't it be dull if I made any manga ever? Yeah, that's one thing that I did took a lot in consideration. The simple idea that sometimes you might want to take in consideration what the audience want and to staple yourself in some kind of way. And that is probably maybe a smart decision, but it feels like a smart decision on the short run and a poor decision on the long one. Because sure, in the short one, you do get publics and you get that uh, you can have a community of stuff that you know that you generally like. My counter arguments to this kind of approach is I don't believe that I know what communities like. I think that you might end up caging yourself on something that you believe people want. and you may end up doing something that people don't want, and at the same time you don't want. That's the thing that I try to stay away from most, is like, why would I do something that I don't care about, or maybe that I care partially about? Could still like some things, but if you're not trying to do them in a better and more interesting way, like, why bother? Or on my spin, same game with color. I thought myself, well, if I remove color, maybe it will be faster. That's probably right. Seems to be intuitively what most people suggest. But then I took a look at JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I saw because there is, for every thing that I've read, there's the colored one and there's the not colored one. And I thought, well, let's see, is it significantly better? And if it is, well, then problem solved. Why bother doing something that's worse? You guessed it, it actually definitely was better. And then my problem was solved because I want to do the what I consider to be better. And that colors like works. Plus, it is also a better business decision in some regard. I might surely lose a part of maybe the Japanese revenue, maybe the comic book. It won't be labeled as a manga, so that's going to lose me a part of the Japanese crowd. But since Webtoon is in town, and I will publish it on Webtoon, that's some crowd that you don't want to miss. Like, that's something that works very well off the fact that it's going to be in color. Generally, on Webtoon, people might be okay with you not having colors, but generally speaking, they still expect colors. So this is the piece. Maybe I rework the face afterwards. Let's make it convincing, and then I'm gonna work everything else. So that's an indirect business decision. Like, I didn't necessarily plan for it. I always wanted to publish it both on Webtoon, which allowed me to not be bogged down by editors or some bullshit like that. But then it will unintentionally work on the business side, which would be that Webtoon allows bigger audiences. And audiences for the global ones, even if it's most read in Korea, that's not important. Webtoon makes it accessible to anyone that has a smartphone. And even the smartphone aspect, like, I've bought a tablet to be able to read better my mangas. But that's not something that you would expect from most people. Most people would like to read it on the phone, and on the phone, like, if there's not any other way, it's okay. Like, what you gonna do? You're gonna zoom over here, zoom over here. It's way less awkward in a format that's, if the format is meant for it to happen. But the webtoons only fall short in the another amazing category that the Japanese simply dominate, which is the page layout. I always felt like comics, like mangas had something incredible going on. It was always more exciting than reading their Western counterparts, and I never really understood the why of it. But now that I'm reading it as a creator, it's little by little coming to me. I don't still understand the house of the choices or the whys, but little by little I understand that they have tremendous work in the paneling aspect, and that's simply going to just override a lot. Like, even if the quality is amazing, but the action feels stiff or feels slow or doesn't feel doesn't pass me the excitement, that's still a lesser way. Japanese dialogues, most of the time, are pure fucking cringe. Like, that's the part that I can't. There will always have to be someone who's someone who's monologuing or some kind of shit. Have to be explaining everything and spoon feeding myself. And that's not, as far as I'm concerned, I think that that's fine for most people, just because most people don't pay real attention to what's going on. So there is going to be need for that. Personally, very triggered every time that comes up, because I am do watching the show, man. I'm like, if I'm tuning in a show, I'm watching it. I'm not there to do something else. I don't put any show in background. It happens when something that it's happened to. No, even the Legend of Korra, I think it sucked balls, but I still stuck to it and finished what I started. Sure, I put it two times, like whatever. I'm not gonna sit to bullshit that much, but brother or brother, I'm still gonna I'm actually or dropping it or finishing it. Might be a fault of the telenovela stuff. Maybe they're the ones that made this tasteless, brainless kind of shows that I need a reference for the tongue. Maybe it was about the telenovelas that bring out this tasteless and artless side to it. I really dislike the whole idea. It must be because, I mean, at the end of the day, it must. Oh, this is great. This is great. Found a nice reference. I can turn it back. Because otherwise, I don't quite understand some people. Like, a friend of mine was like, I've watched One Piece in 2 months, and I was like, bro, how the fuck did you manage to get all of these episodes, or Naruto, or whatever? Then, in another direction, in another day, I've talked again to this guy, and he was like, uh, he was like, yeah, I watched stuff in. How the fuck do I flip the photograph? He was like, I watched stuff in Italian, and I was confused. Like, why? Why would you watch it in Italian, specifically in the dub? It sounds like a bad idea. Don't mind me. The Italian dub is usually tends to be quite nice. I watched at my time. Maybe horse. In my time, I watched quite. I think I started with that, but problem ends up being simply Japanese are better, and myself, I'm okay with reading. I'm not. It's not going to be that bad. I know some people struggle to read, so that's okay. It is what it is. It's not going to be like jump it over. If that makes you enjoy it more, be my guest. Personally, I enjoy it more when I hear all that amazing voice acting that has been put through. So that's where I'm at. Basically, this guy went and was like, yeah, no, I watched it in dub. And I was like, okay, weird, why? And he basically said it is because I then can tune in when there's something important. So he's not watching anything. Then, by the time that there's something important, he at that moment turns the Japanese one, watches that important part, and then goes back to background. And that is fucking insane, man. Like, that's what the fuck are people doing, brother? Just watch the fucking show, man. Just watch it. Just turn off everything and take a look at show. Why are you putting up shows that you don't watch? What the fuck? I struggle. I sincerely struggle. Oh yes, the expression is getting very nice. Like I personally don't understand. I personally was like, brother, just turn off your phone, do the work at this moment, and then when you're finished, just watch the fucking show. It's not really that hard. Come on. But they must be in minority. And now this explains it when people are like, yeah, no, I didn't understand the show. I always got confused because like, how the fuck do you don't understand the show? Like sometimes they will be like, yeah, I didn't really understand how they got to some point on how they maybe did something, and I was very confused when that things came up because like usually the shows over explain it, and people were like, yeah, I don't quite understand how that came about. Then if you watch the shows like this, like a fucking madman, yeah, of course you don't understand it. You dipshit, you didn't hear it. Of course. Why the fuck would you understand it? Okay, so this is how far my expression shit goes. But the nose of the horse is very different. So I'm gonna have to make it like. Okay. And then this is the part that folds, right? So, okay. It's working out quite nicely now. But if I get it even harder. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This horse expression is golden. So, we got something. I think we did. Complete disregard for the upper layer. So that is where I am at. By the way, to each their own. Like if that's something that makes it more enjoyable, sure, be my guest. I don't see how that makes it anything enjoyable, but that's my side of the problem, you know. I don't have to be the one to tell you if you can or cannot enjoy something in some way. But I can complain. I'm very good at complaining. I'm here on Twitch to complain. More correctly, I'm here on Twitch to yap. So that I feel less alone when I do the drawing stuff. But it feels good to be able to yap and nobody on the other side be like, oh, shut the fuck up. Yo, bitch. You've been yapping. Shut the fuck up. My friends are more have heard more than enough of me yapping, so this is for the people that want to hear it at this moment. So I don't know if I can. Let's transfer it to the lower, bro. Oh, I can even transfer it without merging. Ooh, that's nice. So I think that the scene got very nice. Maybe I should work on the background at this moment. Okay, so this one is not needed. Like I can turn it both to blue. Yeah, keep it like that. So to be 100% honest, what I should be doing is using a ruler and a lot of nonsense. Personally, fuck that. If it's not fun, I'm not gonna do it. Breaking out rulers or learning now functions is really not up in my alley as of today. I'm already not finishing this as is. So if I have to break even into this kind of bullshit, that's simply not gonna work. Okay, so it doesn't quite matter how I'm gonna do this, but actually, let's keep them both on white if I can. Yes, I can. So black, black. Just because I don't want to make any tricks. Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because now the horse has a black behind it. So I still have to do some kind of separation, but fine, not a big deal. And yeah, there's the rendering part. So I think the white queen is not gonna take that long. I think the horse is gonna be the hardest one by far. Horse has a simple problem, which is the fact that it's full black. That's gonna take me a long ass time to render. So let's get comfy. Okay, I need to get my stance up and running. This is not gonna. I don't want to get so stuck on this. Def by lines. Okay. Feels sufficient. And even this feels fine. Okay. Let's give him where to connect. Actually, we can even, like, I like the secondary details to go for 15. Can work with this. Okay. Then I'm gonna go back to 20 and work out this form, you know? I used to believe that it won't matter much, all of these small dots to make them look good. But yesterday's drawing actually proved me quite wrong. It does feel a lot better. So we're gonna outline this part a little more. Now back to 15. Lucky draw. Yep, looking great. Okay. So this part, I think I messed it up a lot. Be like a little. Hmm. Sounds reasonable. Now I haven't gotten into the habit to use my vector layers, but that's gonna save me a lot of time in actual production. So we are definitely doing them on sooner or later. I don't know in this challenge. I think that I'm trying to work my hands and my instincts at the moment. And it would be probably less beneficial if I'm gonna work, if I'm gonna cut out my hand into doing this. I'm out of this opinion. At the end of the day, it's just some decisions that you take here and there. It will always weird me out when people like are gonna be so committed to to tell you, like, hey, why don't you use a brush so that it's easier for you to, I don't know, sketch or ink or whatever. It's very weird how that is a concern. I don't know, to me sounded bizarre to be going like, yeah, you could not waste time and do this instead. And I'm like, why do you mean waste time? Like, sure, I can make it faster, but faster doesn't always mean better or that it was wasted. I'm still not producing artwork for anyone, so I can take my time. I can enjoy it. Again, the streamer from yesterday gave me some kind of inspiration because she said that the last she shows his works and some like took even 50 60 hours. I thought to myself, well, I never actually invested so much time on a drawing, but perhaps I should. It's actually made me feel the opposite way about it. Because by the end of it, there is a lot of benefits into actually working it out, but simply there is also enjoying. There was like some post which I found hilarious about someone, don't know who posted it, guy, girl, whatever. So there was someone who posted a smoothie they made, and under the post someone commented like, "Is this for gaining weight or losing weight?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, this is because I enjoyed it." I feel the same way. Like, there's always emphasis on the result and never emphasis on enjoying stuff. That's why I quit. In retrospect, this is why I quit music. Don't mind you, I wasn't a rising star or whatever, not. But I did have a guitar, and I had a friend who's very proficient, and I was like, "That's perfect. This is how I get to learn how to sing, how to play." And learning how to play then allows you to just play with your friends or do some serenades or some bullshit. And he was very insistent in the theory. And he was correct in the sense that if I had followed every advice that he had for me, there's a good chance that everything would have worked out very nice. Problem is, I didn't follow. And in retrospect, I put the blame on me, as in, yeah, I was a dipshit and I didn't follow some simple instruction. But in hindsight, I won't say that it's his fault, because that's how he thought is the best way to learn. But in hindsight, it would have probably been way more beneficial if I would have just played with it. And I might, at this moment, there's something more on my mind, so I'm not gonna get into one more activity. But if ever the life gets not busy, I wouldn't despise getting back to to music. Like, for the brief period of time that I worked on it, it was very nice. It was fun. Like if I feel like going back, I would definitely use the same approach that I'm using on drawing as of recently, instead of trying to get to the result. That's the part, the weak part that end up not allowing me to continue. Well, I'm saying allowing as if somebody stopped me. I'm saying that if I could start it over, I would have played a lot for the playing. And once I hit some kind of uh, any kind of obstacle, then I'm going to study. And that's just how it works. Like that would have worked wonders. By far the best technique. It's just that work is already work. So if even something that you're supposed to enjoy now becomes the new work, you're gonna come home and you're not gonna feel like, yeah, I've done a shift. Now it's time to study art. No, that's not the way to do it. It's more like, yeah, I've drained a lot of my energy. Let's go home and recharge it by doing something artistic. Now, that's shit. That's the shit. That's definitely somewhere. Or even because at the end of it, we miss a lot of play. And adding another work on it, it will definitely not get you out of the drag of not playing at work. So if I get back to it, I'm definitely going the enjoy route. Because once you can mostly enjoy, then the cool thing will happen, which is you would actually want, you get the feeling to study. Because there's going to be some kind of frustration that you will have. Like, that's just inevitable. And now, guess what? Studying looks sexy because you would be like, why the fuck am I not able to play this or to draw that? That's the same way that I'm feeling at the moment. It's like, yes, I'm drawing and the stuff can come out nice. Let's see if there is something that I'm missing that it will make it come out nicer. And turns out there is. That actually is the case. Yeah, that's my story. Now I'm again very surprised that I got to the point where textures feels very nice. Up until not so long ago, I would have killed myself if I need when I thought about getting so much texture. But again, one part of it is doing how you want it to be, or with your style. And my style is just I want to render the shit out of a part. It makes feel my progress way closer instead of just waiting for it to be, instead of waiting for the whole picture to to get done. Maybe the progress it will happen, but like after 40 hours, and I was like, who the fuck has the time to wait 40 hours to see something being there? You know? That sounds like a drag. I don't want to wait 40 hours. I want it to be not now, but I want some kind of any kind of retribution at this precise moment. And that's been my grace. Like it actually added a lot of enjoyment on my part. Yeah, no, this doesn't work very nice. I think it looks bizarre. Let's go with the shorter ones. Let's try to not override these lines. First off, let's transfer this part. I think the top half works great. So let's transfer to the second one, which means that now, yep, great. So now we can focus on this side. This trick is the shit, by the way. The guy who actually taught it, it's just amazing. Now, what's a scary light situation? Specifically, I'm wondering. Okay, that's good. Yep, this looks nice. So, a little more of that. Can I suggest it with more chaos? Yes, I can. Now, what if it goes like this and becomes rarer and rarer? Yes, it works. Yes, it does. Very well. Surprising catch. Very, very well. Like, oh, wait, there's a shortcut to do that. C. Capital C. Nope. Capital C on the layer. Nope. Yeah, it doesn't work. Whatever. Okay, so afraid lightning. What if I say, well, lightning is not afraid light effect. Maybe can even, I don't know, if I follow this, the light pattern from the scene. Or maybe something like this. Maybe a little bit more on the top. That's the zoom. I think that's okay, but probably should. Like, how about if I show a tiny bit of curvature? So let's go like this and go like this and add a little bit there. Same goes over here. So we go the top one, we curve it a little, we curve it a little over here, and then we finish the touches. Yeah. Okay, back to business. Until I need to transfer it down, I don't. That's pretty sweet as an idea. Okay, I don't know why we strayed from black. So let's put some blacks here and there and transfer it down. Oh yes, this variation business looks great. Transfer to lower layer. So is it because I overrided C? Probably is. Oh no, I still need to click the... That's not a good shortcut. I don't think it is. Why the fuck would you want a shortcut that does something like this? Whatever. This is more of a straighter line kind of business. And there is a bit of line weight over there. It seems like I greatly undermined how big of a deal this separation is. Now, this one requires a lot. But I'm thinking I can disconnect them, right? Can I make like the bottom ones starting from here? It's gonna be a lot of work, but in this case, I think it's kind of worth it. And the same goes for the top. So in this case, there's going to be like a lot of description. There's one highlight over there. There's going to be a highlight over here. And why not? I can add another one here. Yeah, the highlights are great. Highlights look nice. And same would be for this chunky as. Okay, at normal distance, reads awesome. Yep. So put on some highlights, put on some stuff. We can make a slight, ever so lightly. Tap a little bit of dark on that side, just a tiny bit. This gives it a lot of character. Now, speaking of, This is horrible to do. Yeah, but it paid out. Maybe this one can shut the fuck up. And where the fuck is this? Okay. Maybe this one can shut the fuck up and we can put some bigger highlight over here. Motherfucker. Okay. Rule number 1 of draw a box. Always never break the illusion. So there's one highlight. Now the other one. This is an interesting highlight. So this, we will sacrifice a bit of a line over here. And here's the power of the 2 layers. God damn, this feels good. The highlight on the edge. That's just something. Actually, even this is a highlight on the edge, right? This highlight should be finishing on the edge. Now, I'm not gonna completely get rid of it, but I'm going to greatly reduce it. Feels more like a highlight. Oh yeah. Yes, 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 yes. It's the shit, man. This is the shit. So as I would imagined, we are like not even halfway point. So I don't think I'm gonna go very far in this regard. But that's okay. It's been like a blast these days. I think I've unlocked something during this October. So that's vastly more pressure than precious. Vastly more precious than finishing the assignment, itself. That's what school lacked for me. Is the idea that yes, I finished my assignment and that's about it. And once you're finished, that's great. Go on, there's something more to be done. But there was never the clicking part. And teachers will always wonder, well, why didn't you turn out into something? Well, because now, not gonna blame the teachers. I think that teaching is awesome, and if you are so inclined, you're a hero, because there's not like, it's not economically viable and simply not like a smart choice if you look at it only under, oh fuck, I did a little bit of a blunder, so let's transfer it down and be okay with it. I think that's awesome. Teaching is awesome. It's not a smart career choice if you look only at the economical status, but it's an amazing choice if you care about future and about how lives unfold, even society to some degree. These guys are actually getting down like the leaders of the future. So it is a very underappreciated job. And absolutely it's the devastation to anyone. Now, personally, like I'm throwing a lot of big words over here, but personally, would I have gone for the teaching job? No. And my excuse is very simple. I was fucking poor. And that's a damn good excuse, I think. Still an excuse, of course. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, honestly, didn't ever cross my mind the idea of a passion. As I said at the beginning of the stream, it takes some privilege to be. It takes the good conditions to think of passion. Sometimes you just have to survive, and you survive, and that's about how your day is going. There's not much to be said about anything else. And so that now for me to be passion first, it is giving me some level of anxiety. Like it's some boldness that I didn't have. The fuck, bro? Okay, I have to click it right. It's some amount of boldness that I didn't ever have. And so I admire people that do actually. Just couldn't be me. Would be interesting to think about like what is it that could have happened if I was let loose of the economic bounds. Like would have that still bring me to the economic routes or not? Personally, I don't think so. Because the deal is I was more interested in the money when I thought I need to take care of my mom. And it felt unfair to that my problems were to fall on my girlfriend as well. So I always tried to be ahead in that department because I didn't want my life to affect both of us in that manner. So I always wanted it to be like, yes, I have this responsibility, which would be my mom. I know you don't, so I don't want you to feel like that's some kind of thing that you have to take care of. Or like, didn't want to sacrifice our experience or our current life so that I can take care of mine. Of course, if needed, I would. The bond between mother and son is just something else. Well, at least our bond is very strong. And I would be there because we're basically it's just me and her for a long time. But still, you wouldn't want that to be part of, you know, my mom would feel bad, everyone would feel bad if like, something would happen because family got involved or just simply was too much in general. Like my mom is cool on that aspect. She's very independent and she would never want it to happen. But as a son, it just you don't really have the like since I really like her, just don't really have the audacity to be like, yeah, no, I could help my mom, but have to go on vacation or buy a new car or whatever the fuck it is that you would do will not that will not uh, that will benefit you and not help your mother. It's just like not gonna happen. Fortunately, these problems are finer now, so that's all right. But still, it's something to keep in mind at all points. Now, I feel finished with this part as of tomorrow. Yeah, I think I can finish the other part tomorrow. Like at the moment, I'm not very excited to keep on going. It has been a good ride, so I'm gonna keep it on a high note. I'm not so motivated to just keep the next, to just get to the next one. So that would mean that I simply gonna take a look at somebody to raid, if there's somebody that's doing this, and finish this up tomorrow. Also, I need to get prepared for work and all the stuff again. Keep it short, keep it simple, don't overdo it. Every time that I have overdone, I burned out and quit. This is the time that I try to not overdo it and quit. So for the raiding, I want some people in the same category and go for something for some people that has the same level of community. And naturally for the English, I don't want to finish on like any different channels, bro. A lot of YouTubers. Like, is everyone in this community a VTuber? Isn't there anyone that isn't? Okay, she's doing like some shit, but it's like what? Okay, so that's the French one. Okay, let's go with the same community one. Start a raid. Yeah, so thanks everyone for hitting me up. This is has been delightful today. We will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow.